What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phoenix channel. If you like this content, consider hitting the like and consider subscribing to this channel. I do this really for the benefit of the community, stay abreast with the latest and greatest within EOS, and just some other rants as well. So hopefully you enjoy my content. Today, I just want to give you guys an update on a couple things within the EOS community. We do have a group that we're working to form, which is investigating or exploring the formation of a hackathon for the EOS community. So, anybody who has an interest in that, next Tuesday, that's the 22nd at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, we'll be organizing a Zoom call, as well as we have a Discord channel within the EOS Discord community or server. So if you have an interest in that, please let me know. Reach out. We are looking for help to really, at this point, just organize, I think, the hackathon, come up with some appropriate frameworks in terms of incentives, prizes, the repository for the event itself, some of the criteria we might use, maybe even how we springboard the ideas. So I was even thinking, for example, would it be interesting to see Eden be used as a means to, or an Eden like process be used as a way to elect the winning projects? If you guys have been a part of the prior, for example, Block One hackathon events, you will know that in many cases it seemed like the projects were somewhat half baked. And it's no disrespect or sucker punch to those teams, but it just didn't feel like those projects themselves actually had uh, dApps that were actually finished. Some of them, it was quite a useful or clever way of using wireframes to win a competition. So I think if I have some influence, and I'm just one person, I'm obviously just a pleb, but I think my main interest or my main goal will be to see if can basically create a hackathon that actually produces um, useful applications that use EOS. They are working examples that the community can use, and the best projects are awarded the prize money. So, more to follow on that, but I'll leave the information in the comments below or in the description below. So, if you have an interest in that, consider joining. We also had discussion or acknowledgement or word that the Telos network has kind of jumped ahead of EOS in terms of adding EVM support to its stack in terms of development. And so what this does is it allows uh, maybe developers historically that have been on Ethereum, allow them to use a network like Telos, creating essentially a bridge from Ethereum into the Telos network. And in doing so, uh, having the ability to onboard thousands of developers. So I think it's really important for those within the EOS Foundation, those influencers to really pay attention and start to articulate priorities for EOS. I think that should be one at the top of the list, just because I think in terms of where EOS is, in terms of development tools and bridges, we're just really far behind if we're going to keep it 100. So we don't necessarily even have, to my knowledge, a repository of a maintained developer forum. So I noticed in diving into like the EOS Studio and even the recent example by James Mart. A shout out to him if he's watching this video, for his video covering developing EOS contracts on Visual Code. Um, that Visual Studio Code, I guess it is. That was helpful, but it we don't necessarily have. It seems like something that's been maintained to cover essentially a full blown example of using the current tools with the current code base or repositories and essentially just creating a simple app. So I think that again, in addition to the EVMs, that should be a priority for the network. What do you guys think? Um, and then there's the deprecation of EOS Studio, which if you guys have tried that recently, you'll notice it actually doesn't work. I think there's some broken links maybe with the contract development toolkit, maybe EOS itself. I don't know if it has to do with block one. Bottom line is it doesn't work. So to me, that's a major issue. Not seeing the type of, I guess there isn't like an entity within EOS that's owning this gap, if you will. So hopefully we'll build a little more out of Fractally or another organization to pick up that slack. And in terms of my rant response to Eve LaRose, the last video, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of semantics or pedantic arguments that, in my opinion, just aren't actually relevant. Folks can make excuses as to why EOS um, has not been successful or has caused confusion or whatever the case is. The bottom line is EOS as a community and mainly with the contributions from Block One, made a lot of promises about being an Ethereum killer, having 1,000 dApps at launch, all this hype. And the bottom line is EOS just did not live up to that in terms of a network or a community or bringing on developers or having the incentive structure. So I think that is really where the root cause of the issues with EOS. I don't think it has to do with exchanges or the semantics about voting versus staking. I think that's all bullshit. And I think the sooner we can move on from that as folks that lead EOS as an organization, I think the better off we're going to be. So I would just say if we could focus less on politics, semantics, being politicians, and more about tech implementations and coming up with a prioritized strategy on how to steer the ship. I think we can allocate our time more towards that. I think we're going to be much more successful as a community. And in terms of my own journey right now, what I'm doing is I am in a boot camp. I'm learning React and JavaScript. So I just finished my base framework for that, and kind of on my own trying to learn EOS. But like I said, it's just been little bit more challenging just because of lack of documentation. So I'd like to know what you guys think. That's all I got on my list here. Obviously, Fractally comes out on 2/22. Not expecting too much. Hopefully, we'll get a nice surprise. But that's my rant. So hope everybody's well. And this is Phoenix signing off. Peace.